You know, human life is often filled with all kinds of desires: wealth, health, family, and success. But amidst all these, the rarest and noblest yearning is really the intense longing for God, not for any worldly gains, but simply for God Himself. Saints declare that, such earnestness alone draws God near. So let us listen to today's Pravachan and learn how true devotion is actually measured by the depth of our yearning. Do you really want God? And for what purpose? Of course, you take so much trouble to come over here, so how can it be that you don't want God? You certainly want God, but well, what for? For making your family life happy. Even if it is so, however, it is certainly to the good, because later on, this will show us the proper way. Whosoever has an earnest yearning for God for the sake of God alone is really fortunate. Great sages and saints felt the urge for God, and they made God their own. Tukaram, Ramadas and others never aspired for anything except God. Such need for God is felt only by saints. Ramadas felt an intense longing for spiritual initiation. He requested his elder brother for it, but he was told, "You are too young, my boy." But you see, the intensity in the mind of Ramadas could not be quietened. He actually ran away from the marriage altar. He sustained the intense longing and persisted in this sadhana for a full 12 years, until ultimately God Himself, in His grace, initiated him. And only with this, his anguish was pacified. The attainment of God does not depend upon age, wealth or caste and religion. It only depends upon the intensity of longing. This intensity is very essential. Only total surrender to God can generate such intensity. Ramadas put his head on Rama's feet and said, "O Rama, I have dedicated my body to you. I don't need it without you. It is impossible for me to live without you." With such intense love, such close affinity, such earnest yearning, how long can God hold Himself aloof? God, in fact, is satisfied with very little. If you walk one step towards Him, He comes forward 2 steps in your direction. However, we do not have that intense longing to go to Him. Our passions, our ego, our body consciousness all pull us back. One who cuts all these chains of bondage and attains God does not come back. God is very affectionate, like a mother. Which mother will not like to embrace her child? But these passions stand in the way. Truly, Nama draws aside the curtain between Him and us, eliminates the attachments due to body consciousness, clears the path towards God, and holding our hand takes us straight to God. So keep Nama constantly awake in your heart. The life of Somasi Mara Nayanar, one of the 63 Shiva Nayanmars, shines as a living example of this very truth. His yearning for God was so deep that he constantly longed to perform yajnas and offer worship to Lord Shiva. His devotion was not casual or ritualistic. It was filled with an earnestness that attracted the Lord's grace. Once, while conducting a great yajna, Somasi Mara Nayanar prayed with the intense longing that Lord Shiva himself, with Parvati and Muruga, would come and accept his offering. Such a request might seem impossible, but his heart was burning with devotion and faith. Moved by his earnest yearning, Lord Shiva appeared in person with his divine family, seated on the sacred bull, and accepted the devotee's offering. This teaches us that it is not the external act, but the inner yearning that matters most. Like Ramadas in the Pravachan, Somasi Mara Nayanar shows us that when the longing for God becomes intense, God himself responds. Today's Pravachan reminds us that the intensity of yearning is the key to attaining God. Wealth, age, caste or background do not matter. Only the fire of longing within the heart matters. Saints like Somasi Mara Nayanar demonstrate that God cannot remain distant from one who truly cries out for him. Let us therefore nurture such longing by constant remembrance of Nama, surrendering our ego and passions, and walking steadily toward the divine. With one sincere step, the Lord will take 2 steps toward us.